Welcome everybody. I'm really excited about this interview. I'm excited about this series 88.9 World Tour. We've been to Australia with Middle Kids. We've been to Japan with Chai. We've been to Africa with Femi Kuti. And today we're excited to be in Alaska, right? We're in Alaska with Ya Tseen, Nicholas, Otis, and some of you may or may not know, like I've spent most of my adult life in Alaska, and so for the last 5 years I've been back and forth, between Milwaukee and Alaska. So just having this artist who I think represents the Alaskan way of things, it's so authentically that I'm just really excited for the whole world to know about him and his collective. And we'll get more into that a little bit later. We have a video that I'm looking forward to sharing. But first, I just want to introduce you guys to Ya Tseen, aka Nicholas, or aka Ya Tseen. I'm not sure which direction, but welcome, brother. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks.
And we have Otis as well.
Yeah, it gets confusing, right? Because his name is actually Ya Tseen, you know what I'm saying? And then we're in the
It's
band
Ya
Ya
Tseen.
Tseen, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, snapperoni, macaroni. Yeah, hello though. What's happening?
I'm gonna fight the urge to ramble on the front end right now. And I'll just say, if you guys would set up the video, we'll get into the video, which is, I think, 2 songs. Just kind of set up the video, what are we about to see, and then we'll move into that.
You want to take this one? Nikki G.
Oh yeah, man.
Nice.
So we're waiting for the videos to play, right?
You'll set it up and then we'll push play.
Oh, cool. So yeah, a little bit about the video. We have we brought in the whole band flew up to Alaska, right? So we had seven of us up here in the studio, and the studio is actually like a spaceship, really. So we were out just like we filming and capturing some of these live songs. So these are, what we're about to share with you is 2 tracks, exclusives for 88.9. First song is Get Yourself Together off the record Indian Yard. And then the second song, I believe, is Light the Torch off the same project.
Thank you.
All right,
let's get to Ya Tseen.
Okay.
I feel like loving you, and we can do it high rise. city lights, dance floor heat till we hit the sheet. But you really gotta get some control now, baby. 'Cause you been acting strange. Think you better call your mama now, baby. Better call your mama. Call your mama. Got to call your mama. Get yourself together. Gotta get yourself together. Get yourself together. Gotta get yourself together. Telephone, telephone. Call her on your telephone, telephone. Every day. Every day. All of the ways to get yourself together. All of the ways to get yourself together. All of the ways to get yourself together. All the ways to get yourself together.
Wow. Wow. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
man.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Do you hear everybody clapping and whistling and everything in the background? Word.
Yes, man.
Word. That was fresh. That was fresh.
That was pretty fire.
Thank you for sharing that. I could feel the time and intention that you guys put into just making sure that was really fresh. You want to take a second and introduce the band? Had we been live, that might be the next place to go to. Like Nicholas, would you introduce the band?
Sure, man. We got OC Notes over here. He was on keys and vocals on that performance,
Right on.
the live performance. But this is by no means the roles that people play in the making of the music. You know, like these are the interpretations of what the songs right now in this performance. So we had Jace Eiler on drums. He's based in Seattle area. Nico Van Wyck on bass, who's also in the Seattle Bellingham area, and Benjamin Verdos on guitar and vocals, Seattle, New York. Zachy D on guitar and vocals. Zachy's here in Sitka, Alaska as well. And then, myself, Nicholas, I was singing and some guitar and some of those cuts. Jesse Huey also, can't forget Jesse. Jesse Huey's from Sitka here in Alaska, but now living in Seattle. And, he's like a utility man with our live performances. He does many things, so including put some of these video edits together. So shout out to Jesse.
Oh, you got to give a shout out to the video edits. There's a point when I'm watching it, I'm watching humans kind of pop up and float around in different areas.
If you go into that space, it was like it's not that big of I mean, it's a decent sized room, but it's not when you put all of us and the equipment in there and stuff. So we had 7 cameras, all around in different spaces. We had one floating camera, and so we had to kind of put it all together like that. So
thank you for that 88.9 World Tour exclusive.
Yes.
Nice.
That answer kind of leads me into a big part of Ya Tseen, which is your collaborations. The album Indian Yard is just bananas. Like, first of all, it's a great work of art. I think it supersedes just the expectation of a music album. I just think it's a great work of art. It gives like a full range of emotions and tensions with my time, and I always appreciate that, listening to a project all the way through. But you can't move through it without recognizing all of the collaboration. So, it's one of the early questions I want to ask, and maybe this will springboard into some follow-ups. So like, what, your collaborations are just, they're really perfect in what, I feel like the intention for the albums was. And how did you go about finding the collaborations, or did they find you, I guess, is the spirit of the question.
I mean, I think like we have so many ties and connections amongst our projects and the circles that we work with. Otis OC travels and tours with Shabazz and like has his own solo projects. So we have, I think we have a lot to pull from that in general. But like, I don't know, some of these artists, it was like, who would sound nice on this, and then reach out and they, like with the Portugal the Man collaboration on there, who's another fellow Alaskan, but that one was, was kind of specific. I've been in touch with John Gurley, and we started sending music back and forth, and that song was one that we had very particularly in mind for. So, but yeah, I don't know. You got anything to say on that, Otis?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much spot on. Like, everybody is, we're frequent collaborators with each other. We're in each other's circles in numerous different ways. We've been rocking with each other for a while, so it kind of just happens naturally. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
And it's actually it works out because the cats that we want to work with, at least for, I could say for myself, but I know for us, are folks within our direct reach, you know what I'm saying? And so it's really tight to know that like, we should get Ish on this, we get Stas on this, that, whatever. It's just like, yo, it's not really like, how can we do this? It's just like, just holler at him. We know that it's pretty much, you know, catches down because we all like each other's tunes and artistic endeavors, you know what I mean?
Word. And I think that's what I was feeling. Like it wasn't collaboration for the sake of siphoning each other's fan base, you know, like it was really collaboration of like, you know, we can create something that will be here longer than our grandkids, you know, like you can hear that in each song. Like we have the opportunity to create something that will be here for a while, which you know, I appreciate. So to the Portugal the Man, I want to lean into that for just a second because there's to that same question. Like I didn't hear that song and hear like, hey, let's get Portugal the Man on the album, right? Like you can still hear where there's synergy as it relates to the different styles and again intentions for your craft. I will be in Palmer for the fair. I'm planning on going to see them. There. Yeah. Will there be like, and I guess it wouldn't be a surprise based off your answer right now. Like, are you planning to kind of pop up in either one of those sets?
No, I wish though. I wish.
Okay.
You know, we talked about conversations of doing some shows and stuff together. So hopefully that's still something that can happen in the future. But
yeah. I bought my ticket thinking that I might get to see like a surprise collaboration up there. I don't know, man. I'm still gonna go. I mean, it's not gonna make me not go, but I had this, like this little suspicion that like, you know, like there's a point where it's like special guests coming out.
Why don't you at them on Twitter and ask them if they're gonna
get
seen as a say why
get some wheels in motion.
Pressure on them, man.
Okay, everybody, you guys hear that? Let's make that happen.
Put a bug in their ear.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, that'd be fun.
And, you know, as an Indigenous artist, and I, you know, the collaborative has like a wide range of hues, which is one of my favorite parts. You know, I just feel like you guys are like a Sly and the Family Stone version of what collaborations could look like, you know. As an Indigenous artist and as a multidisciplinary artist, how do you balance your time and intention, right? Like you know, we only get so many hours, and you're either going to be in the studio or you're going to be carving. And how do you prioritize?
That's a tough question, really, because you know, it varies based on circumstance. It varies based on necessities. Varies based on seasons of, like you said, like if it's fishing season, it's fishing season. I'm going to feed my family for a year and a week of being out on the water, kind of thing, you know. So like it's based on all these other aspects, and then it's also factoring into that is like when it's the inspiration is there and you have to answer it, you have to document it, you have to capture it, you have to be willing to listen to that yourself too, and then sacrifice what it is, what that means. So sometimes it means it might be the only 3 nice days of the summer in rainy Southeast Alaska, but I'm really on to something in this project, whatever that is. I might just be inside all day with this little laboratory knocking that out. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that, Otis?
Yeah, I think, man, it's almost a broad question because like it would depend on, you know, what Indigenous activity, what culture. Oh my gosh, we could go on and on about that one, honestly, like, because, you know, you're an Alaskan native, that's your region. You know, I've got my Indigenous ancestry. All of us cats got so much going on, and everyone represents their things in different ways. You know what I'm saying? And so to take the time, like, you know, you take the time. You're just living your life. You're doing what's important to you. You know what I'm saying? The same way I live my life, doing what's important to me. Liberto does his thingy. You know what I'm saying? The homies down in AZ and in New Mexico do their thingy. You feel me? Like, there's cats all over the place. You know, we find the time to do what we like to do. You know what I mean? It's just living life. It's the way I see it. You know what I mean? Everybody got that decision to make. You know what I mean? And Nikki G does it and makes it look real sexy, man.
Yeah, Nikki G got range, and I hope I hope I get to call you at this point.
He got
because
range.
again, like
That's a good way of
there's a
putting
point
it.
where you start being honest, right? Like as an on-air talent, you get your playlist for the week, and there's this new artist, this new song popping up, and you start unpacking it, and I'm like, oh shit, dude's from like my man's from Sitka, he's from Alaska. He's like, and then you start unpacking even more, and it's like, and I came across, and I'd like to ask Ya Tseen about the installation that from New York, where the installation kind of represented a correlation of like basically humans who experienced violence from the state. And so the more you unpack, I realize that there's a lot there. The installation from in Australia that I think has there's a common denominator with Captain Cook's history in Alaska, so even that installation had a lot of relevance here. So in all of that, like that's
it's all connected. It's connected. So like the visual artwork for me right now, I'm carving a canoe here, and that's cultural work for community in a very different way than some of this other work, like say that Shadow on the Land, excavation and bush burial, which was the archaeological dig of the Cook Monument in Sydney of the statue, digging deep enough to bury it. But that's also cultural work in a different realm. It's that casts into larger conversations with people from outside of the culture, people that have historically impacted our culture, settler communities, U.S. history, all of these things, man. It's all embedded into it. So, and I would say the music holds that too. We're not messing around in any medium that we're in. So,
what are your do any of your song lyrics derive from the visual art process? Like, is there a point where you are creating a visual, where you're creating visual art, but it informs song lyrics?
I think so. It doesn't always translate directly, as in like I'm not narrating the physical movement of something, but we've sampled stuff into music. We've sampled the percussions of the tools from wood carving into song. Like there's lots of variations of how it can enter that space sonically. So
how did you and Otis meet? And how did you and Otis meet? How did you Otis and Zach, which I think is like the core of the collaboration?
Yeah. I used to run a music festival here in Sitka called Home Skillet Fest for 10 years, and I brought artists up from all over. But a lot of those artists came out of Seattle because that was the closest hub to Sitka. We got to fly in and out of Seattle to go anywhere still, basically. So Otis came through. I don't know how many years ago that was. Otis, you?
Long time. It's hard to keep track.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep track.
That's where it started. Like, we just started collaborating here and there. I always say, like, I was such a fan of Otis's work and his projects and his music that, like, I wanted to collaborate on something at some point. And that was when I was running like my Silver Jackson projects and stuff. And so that was our first collaboration. A few cuts on one of the records back then. And we just stayed up on it. Zachy D and I met Zachy here in Sitka also years ago at like a beach jam or something, little guitar session, music after party or something. And I was like, who is this? It was Zachy D. That's who it was. Zachy D's like the illest, man. And
Yeah.
anything he touches guitar wise is just like, yeah. And he was like that back then, you know, so
It's crazy.
yeah.
I love that you guys have pet names for each other. You know, I don't know if you know that that's happening right now, but when you reference each
man.
other, there's little pet names happening right now, which I think speaks to just the tenderness in your relationships.
I got a million names for everybody, man. If I know anybody long enough, they're gonna end up with 4 or 5 names or something, you know. Just a habit.
The album Indian Yard, which you know I've read and researched, took about 3 years to happen, right? And it's been said you get a lifetime to make the first project, and then after that you're at the mercy of the fans.
Never heard that. That's cool. I guess that works. Huh?
Is there already a next in the works, or because also your collaborative process, I think logistically isn't as easy to move through as some of the other, you know, bands or collaborations?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely got stuff in the works. That first record was just how many tracks is it? Like 11 or 13 or something like that. However many it is, we made a gang of tracks. We made some fire tracks. We made damn near 2-3 records. You know what I'm saying? Of just straight.
We got like 3
heat.
records of
Okay, that's
unreleased
exciting.
stuff.
Yeah,
That's
straight
exciting.
heat, you know what I mean? And then we were you know, I was just up there, laid down more heat. Nikki's always laying, there's just heat always being laid down, you know what I mean? And so it's not even close to, it's not difficult, A. B, it's not even close to being finished. Yeah, there you go.
We got lots of work to do and we're doing it. So like it's more of just like,
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. You know, Indian Yard to me, and I mentioned this and well, you know, when we were kind of talking before we came on screen, but it feels like I experienced it as a very disarming revolutionary record. Was that intentional in the like the conception of the album, or is that something that just happened with everyone coming to the table with their authentic selves?
I think it's more that right there. I think it's more that, because that's, you know, that's kind of where we're at right now. Not just us, everybody, but as creative people, that's how we get down, man, with our creative abilities. And so when it comes to like this record, or really any of the music that I make, the music Nikki makes, the art, but all that, like it's always, you know, man, I say, and that's why I get down with Nikki, is because he's real about what he's doing, and he's doing something that is bigger than what most people are doing, which is a capitalist endeavor. You know what I'm saying? It's what I would consider empty. You know what I mean? It has nothing, like you just said earlier in this interview, something that lasts forever and generations for your kids and all that. Like he's doing that not only for his kids but for everybody in the world, you know what I'm saying? And pushing people's minds open and doing things for cats with his abilities, you know what I'm saying? And so like a lot of people go into a studio just figuring out how they can go get a bag so they can go buy some Gucci shoes or something. And that's whack, you know what I mean? And we don't get down with those cats. And so it's just again a part of the natural process of the thing, you know what I mean? Is the music we make is a reflection of where we're at, who we are. You feel me? Ideas we have, be that something that's social, political, or even just about love or the kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's never empty.
Yeah. And the album, Otis, like that is the album, right? Like love, heartbreak, you know, and revolution, right? Like it isn't, you know, we aren't, it didn't feel revolutionary at the expense of the human experience, which comes with family and love and kids.
Something I'm really interested in conversations about, even the topic of revolution and stuff like that, is that something I'm really aware of, and as a like Indigenous artist and the visual art side of that, is the consumption that happens by, certain communities that just want to consume reaction and revolutionary like response via the arts, via any of those things. And to me, I'm not always here for that. We're not going to just respond to that and feed that. Our revolutionary response might be for ourselves and amongst ourselves. Sometimes it might show up in terms of care, might show up in terms of, love shared with our family and those necessary aspects, or it might show up in humanizing aspects of forms that, express and show the human aspects of our communities who are often dehumanized historically. So
Exactly.
Man, in that particular rhythm, Ya Tseen, I have a lot of homies who are affiliated and connected to the First Alaskans Institute, right? And I just want to give a shout out to them right now in this conversation and in this context. What a lot of people nationally aren't necessarily always in tune with is the fight or the advocacy for Indigenous sovereignty is alive and well right now. It's a very young state. A lot of what had been decided, it's start looking up statistics and we realize it isn't working, right? And so this negotiation or this moving back in the direction of technologies and understanding that we're sustainable for 10,000 years or thousands of years, and that's a nuance that I don't think you can even understand until you experience it, or to experience how alive it still is. Like, this history isn't necessarily in the books yet, and I feel that you represent a lot of that in your many disciplines. And this might feel like a softball question, but is that intentional, or do you just feel like you're reacting and responding to the energy?
It's like where we come from and understanding those values of how we come from those places and how we survive and have cared for those places since time immemorial, for 15,000 plus years, whatever it is. And those realities today are more apparent to our communities than ever, that the stewards or those communities that have those relationships and know how to care for place are our Indigenous communities here in the US, and versus like the colonial capitalistic aspects that look at place for resource to extract, to remove things and move on and consume it all the way through. That's where we're at. We've got all kinds of things happening in our world right now that include, fighting for basic necessities like clean air and clean water. I mean, this post-apocalyptic to a lot of our communities when you think about it, like especially the Indigenous communities, where we still fight for even access to sustenance, which is like going out and being able to subsist on the land, on our land, or to have Indigenous communities that can't afford land, because not only have we been removed from it and it's been removed from us, but now it's been, placed into this other market of land ownership that's privatized. So, it's deep, all of it.
Yeah. And thank you. I'll just say that, like, thank you for just making it feels like you've made your life and your time and talent available for this conversation. And there's many humans that will benefit from that, alive and currently alive and on their way. You know what I mean? There's a question I want to ask about, like, being a visual artist or being a multidisciplinary artist. One of the questions that I'm going to ask from one of the listeners, Jeff, is in the video Synthetic God, the comment was, the video is pretty amazing. As an artist, are you able to have some creative input towards the making of your videos?
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to Stephen Gray on that too, and Ish for showing up for the process of making that video. We work with a lot of amazing artists too, collaboratively across video, ideas, conceptions, etc. But I would have to say the song guides a lot of these videos oftentimes. And then if you hand over hand that over to a filmmaker or a director, they can, take that and continue it further. And so that's all Stephen Gray right there, though. He'll bounce his ideas back and forth. Stephen's ill, man.
I should.
It's similar to the music, really. Like, all the film casts that we get down with are really dope and trustworthy. And when we hand them something, we know that it's like, wow, it's exciting to see what their process, how they're going to digest it and then process it through their medium. You know what I'm saying? And because they're really good at what they do. Stephen Gray is a monster. You know what I mean? We got Carlos Cruz, a monster, you know what I mean? Nep Sidhu, just like these cats we get down with are at the top of what they do. And so it's, we could definitely offer input, but it's like, I don't make music videos, man. You know what I'm saying? I have ideas, but their ideas, it's funny because I've made Stefan has made some videos for me, and it's funny working with him. It's like, what I learned is I have ideas, yes, but he has better ideas. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I trust him. I trust him.
Hey man, that humility will get you far.
He's always down to listen, and I can chime in or whatever. But it's like, man, he really is on another level of thinking with his ideas, and it's exciting.
Some of these songs, the life lives on further in different directions when those creative intersections happen. Like Raven Chacon back in that time video. Raven's one of my favorite Indigenous artists working right now, and a friend of mine. And Raven put that video together.
Yeah, my bad. I should have shouted that out because that's my favorite video right now. That video is just so good.
It's good. Sub Pop had to turn the YouTube comments off. I think a lot. The internet had a hard time with the Indigenous there's like non-binary visuals and then Yupik language. And
we had all the colonizers mad and shook, bro. They had to disable the comments on them, bro.
Oh
yeah.
They had to take their comments to Parlor, man.
I heard someone use the term Trojan horse earlier, man, and I think this album, this project, the spirit of your collective has that ability to artistically bring someone into a conversation that they weren't necessarily headed in the direction of, and they didn't know they were until they were there. And coming through some of those conversations through the arts almost makes it impossible to back out. You're here now. You're available for it. And those, I'm a fan. I'm an artist. So I'm a fan of just shocking humans into a new way of considering it, whether they buy all the way in all the time, but you definitely, there's something to shocking someone into the idea of something else.
A lot of my visual work, I would say too, not necessarily tells people something, but it shows them themselves, or it's a mirror. It shows them their perspective and how that's how they respond to that is like very clear, like mirror essentially to that. So I think there's a lot of room for people to grow when they are able to, learn that themselves without being told, because nobody likes to be told anything. But when they feel like they've made those growths or changes or understandings themselves, it might be more impactful.
I agree. I would even take the word might out of there, you feel like, I came to this conclusion on my own. I want to ask another question from a viewer right now. This is from Erin, and she asked, how was your experience acting in the TV series Top Boy? And I think we've talked about this already, but you want to revisit, how do you balance acting and music? I imagine the same way you balance everything.
In the TV series, what?
Top Boy.
Top Boy.
It was good. It was good. It's a lot. It's all similar, I think Odie Chan, give me a break, man.
Yeah, let
It was
me-
good. It was good. I want to know what your favorite episode or aspect of that was. Yeah, it was good. Keep it moving. Wait till you see these next projects I'm working on. Next question.
Keep it moving. Wait. Okay, and this might be I'll ask this question as a this one is for Dory Zori. It's like a question that we wait, before I go to this question, I'll
Cool.
ask similar to like introducing the band. You know, you when we talked about the videos, you just kind of mentioned some visual collaborators, some video collaborators. If you want to just spend a couple seconds giving everyone some places to start nerding out on the Black Constellation Project or humans that you collaborate with that may not be within music, but also as a part of the collaborative. And every time you start talking, this gets bigger and bigger for me, you know? So just maybe, you know, spend some time giving us some names of some artists and collaborators that we want to start nerding out on the front end.
I'll let you lead this, Odie.
Oh man, I mean, it's an interesting to see who we work with. It's all on the records, I guess. Really, you know, we got the.
Well, video. I'm thinking musically and you know visual art, video wise. You know, you just mentioned that you were mentioning the you know, one of your videos was made by a friend of yours.
Oh yeah, Carlos Cruz. Yeah, so there's Carlos Cruz is a great cat up in Seattle. I think he's still up here. But he's from Mexico, right? If I'm not mistaken. And he does amazing.
From Mexico, but based in Seattle now.
Based in Seattle. He's an incredible visual art cat. And then of course we got Nep Sidhu out in Toronto, who was just a whole nother entity of greatness over there, who basically he works with all of us. He does everything. He does textile work, metal work, all whatever is in his brain he does. He also is an incredible DJ. He does so much you can't even. He's like Nick, you know. These cats are just different type of cats. And you know, so yeah, we got Nep out there doing his thing. You know, Makoyo Ali Barnes is another cat that we work with a lot, and just in the circle, who's just an amazing artist. His father was rest in peace. Was an incredible artist. His mother is an amazing activist and lady and active woman up here in the community still to this day in Seattle. I mean, the string is, they go when they go, you know what I'm saying? And that's, you know, I'm trying to think of one other person who I wanted to speak. Oh, we have Nagara. How do you say her last name?
Dumo.
Yes, Bang, who is an incredible, she, you know, I met her as I guess a kind of a curator. Was she curating at the Fry, or was she like, she was doing something at the Fry?
She's doing curator work now, and she does healing and, you know,
yeah, she does healing work, but she's just an incredible human who is extremely informative about all sorts of things, art, history, and she's someone who's, you know, in the circle of just creation. And I mean, man, Frohawk Two Feathers, Umar, you know what I'm saying, down in LA. Oh man, yeah, there's just so many cats. And then that's just
I'm sorry to set you up. I'm sorry to set you up. It feels like, you know, I set you up with proper nouns, knowing we always miss one proper noun, man.
Yeah, you know, there is, you know, but that's just some cats. But Nikki's got a long list. The list is long, you know,
yeah, man,
getting longer.
Long and rich, and thank you.
Yeah.
Being respectful of your time, and I got 1,000 places that I'd love to go in as far as this conversation, but I'll move in a wrap up direction with this question. And you know, as you answer it, if there's anything else you'd like to share, we're open and available for that. This question is to Dory Zori, like our morning drive jock. She always asks, and I think it's a dope entry point into just figuring out your childhood. But what did your childhood smell like? And that's open to.
Did you say smell?
Smell like. So that's Nikki
Smell
and
like.
Otis. What did your childhood smell like?
That's a crazy question, man.
This is a
Wow,
crazy question.
I never thought of that in my life. Hmm.
I might need a few, I might have a few answers for that.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, but it's a crazy question.
I don't know. I guess
I'll-
maybe like tacos, taco meat. I can,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? Like in like dryer sheets.
Tacos and dryer
sheets.
sheets.
That's the first thing that popped in my head, man. Those are
Top
familiar.
ramen. We were raised on top ramen, man. So it definitely smelled like top ramen at some point. Or,
Hot ramen and fish camp, man. That's a
no,
balance.
yeah, not even like I moved around so much in my youth too. One of my favorite memories of scent as a child would be like the red cedar from like family's workshop carving and stuff.
Uh-huh.
That's just a real one right there. Versus like, all right, you'd go in there and there's always this, there's tools, there's the process of carving or creating or making, and with that was also this connection of importance to what that is to the culture and stuff like that. So yeah.
Man,
Hmm.
thank you both, man.